Welcome to our new talk based on the course Journey from Classical to Postmodern Philosophers or Philosophies. Today we have taken the philosophy of SAMKHYA school. It's one of the six schools of Indian philosophy, one of the orthodox schools, what we call Astika. And we'll talk about a little bit about the founder Kapila as well. So, our today's talk is based on Astika school, that's SAMKHYA schools. When we say about the orthodox schools, when you go back and you just check our video in about the Vedic schools, in orthodox schools, when we distinguish between orthodox schools, we have two different kinds of orthodox schools. One is theistic orthodox school and one is atheistic orthodox school. Today our one is that is from the category of atheistic orthodox school, but the atheistic word is a different word taken by Indian philosophers. When we are talking about Swami Vivekananda, talking about all different philosophers, then this philosophy is atheistic, but the word is different when we are talking the word, when we are talking and deliberating on the word according to Western philosophy. So this saint, the 6th, 7th or 8th century BC saint, sage of all times, the greatest influence of all the schools, those who followed the scholars, they were influenced with this sage. And today our system, our school, our talk is on SAMKHYA school. SAMKHYA school. SAMKHYA school. This school was founded by Acharya or sage, I will call sage, because in all texts he's referred as sage Kapila. Sage Kapila. With his name there is a famous place, Kapilavastu, where later Buddha was born. This is the same place with his name related. So we don't have exact date of birth, we don't have exact date of the origin of Kapila, the origin of SAMKHYA philosophy. Let me talk a little bit about the word SAMKHYA and the word Kapila. First we'll talk about this, what we call Sveta, Svetra Upanishads, or Sveta Shvestra Upanishad, the way you can pronounce, or in Sanskrit way, or this what we call the Hindi influential way. According to this Upanishad, I will write here Svetra Upanishads. We have 113 verses or mantras. These are in 6 chapters. The section we'll be talking about is the section 5.2, in which the scholars, they have been discussing about the word SAMKHYA and Kapila. They say that this word appears in this Upanishad, in this section 5.2, both SAMKHYA and Kapila. So whether this was a person as Kapila, as a sage, some believe that yes, he was the person, and some say that there were different Kapilas. There were different Kapilas in different periods of time. But one Kapila was there who was responsible for the existence of this SAMKHYA school, who was the founder of this school, and that school is SAMKHYA. And maybe this word may be there as well. So it is in 5.2 section, and the word is both Kapila and SAMKHYA. And SAMKHYA. Sometimes you may read from the books that these are both same yoga school and SAMKHYA school, but I would make the first difference that would create it a poles apart, make a different school. That means SAMKHYA and this yoga school. In SAMKHYA school they don't believe in personal God or creator or the God with the attributes. That's why we say sometimes that it's atheistic school. So I write here for the sake of classification done by the scholars. I write it as atheistic school, but we'll have a very deliberating. We will have a very this brief talk on this as well. Atheistic school, and they don't believe in personal God. Personal God. So there is no exact date. We have a dispute about when was Kapila born and where was he born and in which period he was. But I'll write here 600 or 700 or 800 BC. So he was not the first millennium BC scholar. Maybe in some of the writings you come across that he was the first millennium this scholar, this Kapila. But both now we are talking about that what exactly is Samkhya meant? What exactly is this Samkhya? What does it mean? Samkhya means, right here, it has been derived from the word Sankhya, Sanskrit or Sankhya, which means number. But not only number. Scholars don't say only number. It may be sometimes to distinguish the number, to distinguish between how to make isolation between purusha and prakriti, the discrimination, in order to make self-realization, in order to give moksha, by discriminating two things, by giving knowledge to two things, by giving that much knowledge, that much divine knowledge that it can isolate from prakriti, it can dissociate from prakriti in order to gain the moksha. So it means discrimination between purasa or purusha and prakriti. That means I'll write here its number or its calculate, to calculate or to enumerate. Enumerate. To calculate, to enumerate, to number. To calculate what? To enumerate what? In Samkhya school, we believe in 25 tattvas. 25 tattvas. I write here 25 tattvas. We are only giving introduction first about Kapila, about Samkhya school, as it is derived from the Sanskrit word Sankhya, believes as number, or to calculate, or to enumerate, or to give any reason. Give any reason. A reason for what? Or a reason for what? I will later on say that what exactly the reason for what. But to calculate, to enumerate 25 tattvas. What tattva means? It's a Sanskrit word which means the true principle. True principle. I write here true principle. True principle. And the fifth principle, 25th principle, we know 25th principle is what is called this purusha. Purusha or purusha. So we don't have exact definition of prakriti and purusha, yet we have etymological definitions of both the words. Purusha and prakriti will define, but to make the justice with the words according to philosophy is very difficult. It's then to go very deep in the philosophy, then go deep in the terminology and go deep in the practice and see what exactly they mean by these terms. We were talking about this, the word of Kapila, which appears in Upanishad, having 1300 having what we call this 113 verses, and it's in 6 chapters. But one more technical definitions I will discuss. Kapila also appears in Rig Veda. It appears in Rig Veda, but the scholars say that the Rig Vedic word Kapila means the reddish. The reddish color, the reddish brown color. So you remember it. I'll write also this reddish brown color, reddish brown color. reddish brown color. So so the confusion is, so maybe you get confused when you look towards different writings or the scholars' definitions or the papers written on these on the Samkhya philosophy. Maybe you get confused. What was kapila? As in different periods we had different kapilas. As in Rig Veda we have the word means reddish brown, this color, or we have in Upanishads. But we see some of the scholars, some of the non-native scholars, neutral scholars, they also made a great research on this Samkhya school. And in 19th century or in 20th century, I will quote three different scholars. One is Richard Gabb. He was in 1898. And what he says that its origin, the origin of this Samkhya philosophy, he says that is from those places which were not greatly influenced by the Brahmanism or greatly influenced by Vedas. So he made according to the geographical formation, the geography where from this Samkhya school originated. He says that those places were not influenced by Brahmans. So he says that it has a non-Vedic origin. It has non-Vedic origin. But at the same time, when we say about this Arthur Keth, first it was Richard Gabb in 19th century, 1898. I'll write here Richard Gabb. Maybe you remember Richard Gabb, and Robert. I will say here Keth. When we take the these writings of this Arthur Keth, not Robert Keth, sorry, Arthur Keth, he says that he was 20th century scholar. He was probably in 1925. He states what he says that the origin of this Samkhya philosophy is in Vedic Upanishadic traditions, in epic. And later, it was Johnson, 1957. He analyzed some of the texts from Buddhism. He analyzed some of the texts from Vedic texts, like what we call the Chandogya Upanishad, or Kashi Taki. Kashi Taki Upanishad. He analyzed both, and he says that this philosophy has its origin in the Vedic philosophy. And some believe that this philosophy was before Sramana traditions, that's 500 BC. But the most influence, what we want to say that the most and the greatest influence of this school was by Kapila, who was the founder. And later it was Ishvara Krishna who wrote a lot about this Samkhya philosophy. So I'll rub it in Kapila Sutra. Kapila's Sankhya Sutra or Samkhya, that is responsible for the origin of this Samkhya philosophy. Later we talked about this Ishvara, and he was responsible. Now there are some more persons, like we have Godapadas. There is writings of Godapadas, and that is called Karika Bhashya, or you can say Sankhya Karika Bhashya by Godapadas. And there is also Vajapati's Tatva Komedi, or Tatva Komedi is responsible for this Samkhya philosophy. Godapatis and Vajapatis, and also we have this Sankhya Pravachana Bhashya Vritti, Sankhya Pravachana Bhratya, this Bhashya Vritti, that's also the source for this. That's by Vijna Bhikkusu's this source, what is called Sankhya Pravachana Bhashya Vritti. I'll write here Samkhya, Pravachana, Bhashya, Vritti, and another is Gaudapadis, that is Karika, Bhashya, and we have this Sankhya, what is called this Sankhya Sutra as well. These were the influences, these were the greatest influences. Now, what exactly is the root of this Samkhya philosophy? First, we discussed about the name. It appears in different Vedas, in Rig Veda. In Rig Veda, we say that it goes to Rig Veda, the root of this Samkhya philosophy goes to Rig Veda, because it has one great term which we later talk about, but we'll see that where this Samkhya philosophy, where is the influence of Samkhya philosophy? The influence of the Samkhya philosophy is seen by both heterodox and orthodox philosophies, orthodox schools. Like we have the orthodox schools, like we have heterodox schools, like we have Jainism, we have Buddhism, we have Yoga school as orthodox, we have Nyaya school, we have Vedanta, we have what we call Vaisesika school. These all show the influence of the teachings of the Samkhya philosophy. Because this Samkhya philosophy, which we say the oldest of the schools of orthodox schools, they accept Vedas as the most authentic sources. Vedas as the most authentic sources. That means Vedas are the most authentic sources, are the most authentic sources. Most authentic sources. And also this is a dualistic school. This is a dualistic school. What? Samkhya. Because they believe in two different realities. One reality is about what we call the reality of purusha, or the conscience, and the reality of prakriti, or the matter. That means matter according to them is a real thing and the prakriti is a real thing. They are independent, but their conjugation, their influence with each other is responsible for the creation of this whole universe. That means their elements, they mix together. They are responsible for the whole universe. That's why sometimes we give reason, we give the pure reason as the pure reason responsible for the Samkhya school. That's why we call it sometimes as the rationalistic school of Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy. Now, how many realities we say according to Samkhya philosophy? There are two different realities. One is purusha, what is called consciousness, and one is prakriti, what is called unconsciousness, what's called matter. What's called matter. Now, this purusha, or what we call in Sanskrit, as we go back to Vedas and Upanishads, there this purusha meant something different. We see here the consciousness, but in the beginning of the period, in the beginning, what we call Vedic period, this purusha meant a cosmic man. When there was a cosmic man, and cosmic man saw around, and it was a lone person. It was a lone person. There was nobody around this cosmic man. And what was done to this cosmic man, according to myth, that, or it's in Vedas, it's in Rig Veda mentioned there, according to cosmic man, this, according to the decision of the gods, they did decide that let's give the sacrifice of this cosmic man, cosmic self. And when the sacrifice was given, it became the sacrificial goat-like structure. Then all forms of the life was created as per their belief. So I will mention here first, let's write it as the Vedic belief about Purusha. Because these are two terms, one is Purusha or Purusa as Sanskrit, and Prakriti. Prakriti according to Samkhya. This I write here unconscious. Unconscious, and to it I will write here conscious. To to this I will write here prakriti as matter as well, material thing, and this as non-material thing. Non-material thing. Now see, dear viewers and dear colleagues, dear students, this Vedic belief was that earlier this Purusha was a cosmic man, a divine man. Divine man. That means a worldly form is understood by this man as a concept, a divinity. That means the sacrifice was given by gods. Gods gave sacrifice. Gods gave sacrifice. And by that sacrifice they believe all forms of the life, according to Samkhya philosophy, all forms, not Samkhya, according to Vedic, all forms of life was created. But later on, when it was the time of Vedic philosophy, now we have the concept of early Vedic philosophy, where it was the sacrifice. But now, as per the later Vedic influence, it was not considered to be the cosmic man. It was considered to be the conscious, the self, the liberating force, the real force, the reality, and the non-material thing without any form, without any body. That means the concept was deviated from Vedas to a new form, that's Upanishadic concept, that it was not a cosmic man but it's a cosmic force, it's a cosmic law. It's a cosmic law. Thus it reached from cosmic man to cosmic law. Cosmic law. Non-material laws present everywhere. Non-material laws. Non-material laws. So why this was non-material laws? See, when we go, we'll also discuss later the theory of causation according to Samkhya philosophy. When we apply the theory of causation as one of the theories in Vedas, there are parallel theories for the creation of this universe which are defined in this Vedic philosophy. But according to theory of causation, if we consider this as a cosmic man according to Vedas, then there happens to be the cause of it, the cause of the existence of this cosmic man and the effect of this cosmic man, because there is always a cause and effect relation, then it applies to this cosmic man. But dividing it, separating it from the worldly form, from the form of cosmic man, it remains now independent of cause and effect theory. Cause and effect theory. Now that's why we call it non-material thing, or these are the cosmic rules, cosmic laws. Or sometimes Purusha is defined simply as a spirit or a soul. Purusha as spirit or a soul. Now, when Prakriti was created, thus everything was created from Prakriti now, whatever is in this universe according to Samkhya philosophy. But the rules which govern this Prakriti, always the elements which govern this Prakriti, the rules which govern the gunas like rajas, like satva, rajas, and like tamas, these are of this related to Prakriti. The rules which govern are from the Purusha. That means Purusha and this Prakriti together make the universe possible, make the life possible. That means when we call Jiva or the living being, Jiva or living being, Jiva or living being, we say that it's blending of two things. One is Purusha, one is Prakriti. Body and the spirit together, or soul together, they make this living being. But they are independent of each other. That means it's a strong dualistic school. Strong dualistic school. I write here, dualistic school. Now, the laws govern everything. But now let's reach to Prakriti as being the material form. As we apply the material form is subject to change always. It could have been a single material, for example a big bang that was changed to different forms, that was broken down, or it changed to different forms. Now it changed different shapes. That means it can change it has validity to change presently, and in future it can also change. That means cause and effect relations are always concerned with the prakriti. That it can change, it was changed, and it is subject to change in the future. Thus, it was the relation. These were two realities. Now is Purusha or unchanged reality, and the Prakriti or the changed reality, and the apply of theory of causation, which we say in detail. Now we'll study onwards